Hey, what's going on, guys? So I put together a video of today's kind of highlights of a lot of the Bitcoin YouTubers that I follow. They're well known in the industry, but it'll give you an idea of what's happening today and what's going on in the market. It's a little volatile right now. We got the FOMC meeting happening tomorrow where Jerome Powell will discuss the interest rates moving forward in the market. So a lot of people are saying probably not much is going to happen, not much of a change. So at least it's not going up, but we know that it should be going down soon. Quantitative easing, which means they'll be lowering the interest rates. The money printer will start printing again, which is a great thing for Bitcoin. So we know that Bitcoin is going to have some big moves ahead. So I think going into the summertime, we should see some big movements to the upside and head into that banana zone, what Raoul Paul typically talks about. So just hold tight and don't mess it up. Pray for your president and your country. So God bless America, and watch this commercial at the end of the video, which is just a crazy video that a company is putting out there and talking about where our financial fiat currency is kind of heading towards, so it's all being debased. Pretty soon it's just going to be all digital. So I hope you guys are educating yourselves and preparing for what's inevitable. God bless you. Stay until the end of the video. Watch this phenomenal commercial. It puts it all into perspective. And like and subscribe if you like this video and like the content. Check it out. Peace.
Support, and then have that triple tap all the way to the top side here, where this upper band curved to the upside on the way up. So even again, if we just moonshot up and it was the top and it crashes back down, that's $160,000 from here. Not to mention, if we get these continued buying pressure, scheduled buys coming in from the U.S. government, from states here in the U.S., from other countries globally, from sovereign wealth funds, from what we're seeing with the massive appetite coming in from institutions stacking into the Bitcoin ETFs, I don't think we have any idea where this market's really even going. So we should count our lucky stars right now that when we look at the Bitcoin price and we see this incredible bullish structure over this last year and a half from back here, January 2023, beautiful structure, just rise, retrace, continuation, retrace, continuation, retrace. We're in the middle of setting up that next leg to the upside right now. So the fact that this is giving us signals, especially with that bearish divergence here on the 12-hour or on the 8-hour, that we may come down, fill this CME futures gap. This is beautiful setup with everything that's coming on the horizon. I know I've showed this a few times. Over 80% of every dollar that has ever existed was printed out of thin air in the last 5 years. And we are on schedule right now to look at what we're seeing on the global markets. Coming back over here to the dashboard, the global liquidity has been absolutely rocketing to the upside, breaking to new all-time highs, which has been a major front runner to Bitcoin exploding.
Big crash ahead. So this is just breaking news, earth-shattering news, but the US dollar has now officially collapsed against the Taiwanese dollar. This is going to have profound implications for Bitcoin. It will pump cryptocurrencies into the moon. This is what I believe Donald Trump, and I've got an ear on all of this, of course, but it has been revealed to me, and I'm sharing with you guys too. I mean, I've got contacts all over the world. Donald Trump is preparing for the reset now. So the crypto gala, which is occurring this week within the next few days, 2 massive events, Bretton Woods style Mar-a-Lago Accord reset, which I broke to you first through my contacts and expertise. I told you, again, the US dollar's dead. That was my primary message in the earlier video I produced, which is like an hour long. And now this. the US dollar has been absolutely decapitated by Taiwan, dropping 10%, which is the biggest move like in Forex.
This indicator over here, this is the Bitcoin power law indicator. And this indicator just kind of blew my mind a little bit, but I want to actually explain a little bit here why this indicator could potentially play out and why the Bitcoin price might actually go as high as $500,000. Now, this seems quite a little bit absurd. $500,000, you're like, okay, we're not going to go there. I mean, you've talked about 200,000 US dollar. Now you're talking about $500,000. Are you just making crap up? Well, this indicator over here, even though it's very hyper bullish, and I would say that even though the chances of this playing out are might be quite small, I do think that there is actually a chance that this is going to happen. And the reason for it is that even though this chart has actually not respected the top of this actual channel. So the power law indicator basically is very simple. There's this power law, and that happens, for example, in the building of cities, metabolism in mammals. There's this pattern that you keep seeing coming back and back again in nature. And basically what this person that made this indicator, it basically turned the power law into a Bitcoin indicator, and it has respected it very, very nicely here a couple times. 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. At the bottom, it has actually been following this exact trend line every single time. So you can see the bear market exactly bottomed out again at the bottom of the channel. But as I said, we haven't respected it 1 time, and that was over here at this previous major Bitcoin cycle back in 2021. Now, there is a theory out there, and that is that the reason that we had this correction to the downside is because FTX was collapsing, all the altcoins, Luna, etc., were collapsing, 3-hour capitals, and that's the reason why we had this quick autumn high. That even though we should have actually gone to like 125,000 US dollar this cycle, but again, because of FTX and all the speculation, we had this big correction to the downside. And we also have to know that in November 2021, the Fed started to actually raise the interest rates. And what you can see is that this is where the autumn high happened. So could we have been ready to break here still to like 130,000 US dollar back here in November 2021? And if the Fed didn't actually increase the interest rates, could we have actually still hit that target? And if FTX wasn't gambling, could we have hit that target? Like this indicator, of course, it can't actually take into account, for example, speculation and exchanges exploding. But it is an interesting theory that maybe the Bitcoin price should have gone much, much higher. And just the fact that with all the speculation going on, we didn't. And so what you can also see here is that this indicator has actually respected here the bottom of this actual trend line every single time, even in the previous bear market. So what this indicator is basically saying is that Bitcoin can go as high here as about $500,000. So we're currently sitting here around 400,000 US dollar, but it will probably extend to about $500,000. This indicator is of course hyper bullish. Now we could still go there if the US government decides to buy a bunch of Bitcoin. I'm not going to be in favor of this and say that this is going to play out. In my opinion, 200K is just the most likely scenario here at this point in time. But it is something to talk about that a lot of people forget about this theory. But yeah, it could have been possible that we should have gone much higher in this previous cycle in 2021. Well, we didn't, but we didn't because of the Federal Reserve that was increasing the interest rates and all the speculation going on. The last thing I want to talk about very quickly is the Taiwanese dollar. Actually, well, the dollar actually dumped in the Taiwanese dollar here about 12% in the last 2 days. And you think, why is this so important? Taiwanese dollar, why does it matter? Well, the reason for this is that the actual DXY here also had quite a strong correction here to the downside in the last couple of days. The reason why this is so extremely important is that every single time that the DXY had a correction to the downside, this is when the Bitcoin had this massive rally here to the upside. So we saw this back in 2017, of course, the 2017 bull run, again 2021, big bull run, and now we're seeing the exact same thing. And these dollar declines, they correlate with these strong Bitcoin bull cycles. So we have the beautiful setup over here as well with this decline for Bitcoin to set a massive Bitcoin bull run. But if these other currencies, like for example here, the Taiwanese dollar, start going down in value, this is going to, of course, drag down the DXY. Now, why is this happening?
Cramer has spoken, ladies and gents. To determine Bitcoin's future, there's only one analyst that we need to be looking at. The one analyst that has basically a 99% win rate, but in the negative direction. So it's not like what he says is what happens. It's basically the exact opposite of what he says happens, but the opposite happens every single time. So he is a pretty accurate inverse analyst. And obviously that inverse analyst is the famous Jim Cramer. He said that I don't believe Bitcoin can reach $500,000 per coin, let alone $1 million. That is improbable. So guys, there you go. I think we can celebrate. Do I have a sound? Oh man, it would be so cool if I had sound effects. But you can give me a clapping sound in the chat because guys, you know what this means? This means that Bitcoin is, in fact, going to $500,000 per coin and probably more, over $1 million, because the famous Kramer has predicted that Bitcoin will not do it, therefore we will likely do it. So that's fantastic news to begin our day. We also got some very good news from Coinbase. They launched an incredible ad talking about Bitcoin and comparing it to or talking about why the Federal Reserve and how much the Federal Reserve prints money every single day. It's like $465 million of money being printed on average by the Federal Reserve. And it talks to you about why when you print more money, oh, well, you know, you have more supply of something, the more it depreciates in value over time. But guess what? There's only 21 million Bitcoin in the world. So if you want to save your money from losing value in inflation, then you can go ahead and put your money into something like Bitcoin instead of keeping your money in dollars. So this was great. I think it was airing during the NBA. So we probably got some new mainstream eyeballs onto Bitcoin, which was great. And obviously this is referring to the global liquidity, because the more money there is printed, the more that money becomes invaluable or less valuable. The more monetary debasement there is globally, the higher the price of
If a Bitcoin was the size of a quarter, all 21 million of them would fit inside a single shipping container. But to fit the dollars the Fed prints on average every day, you'd need 72 shipping containers. Each year, you'd need 26,280 containers. And to fit what they've printed in the last decade, well, you'd need a lot more than that.